Banana and Bears Rugby Pod.
Hello, everybody. Welcome to your very final episode of Banana and Bear Rugby Podcast for the moment, as we finish up with the culmination of the Women's Six Nations TikTok. I don't know where I'm supposed to stick in. It doesn't feel right crowbarring TikTok into the middle of the Women's Six Nations, so we'll just leave it at that. I'm, of course, Tom Mahony, and the person who always adds legitimacy to this is sitting on the other side. I'm assuming you're in Mallow, Anna, are you?
I am in Mallow, yeah.
I forgot to ask. I just went with your many books. You're sitting in a different room and have many more books. This is phenomenal.
Yes. I haven't even been anywhere interesting. I just keep moving around a different room of the house every week to make people think that I have an interesting life. But because I do, at this stage now, this is an open relationship that I do lots of other podcasts as well.
I know you literally took a swig of tea out of another podcast smug. But I don't care because I've got my shows. Fine. That's absolutely fine. Wow.
Yes. Yeah. Well, I just basically they're like, you're in another different room this week. Sure. One of the podcasts I do, I had to shoot it from the park in Madrid. I had to get up early and find a quiet spot in the park in Madrid a few weeks ago, and there were these dogs barking. This kind of an official podcast, like they were like, "Jesus, you're somewhere new again this week." I was like, "Yeah, I know." So it was a good thing that all the podcasts now and the Six Nations come to an end because I'm still on the move. Like I'm only in Mallow for a week, and I'm gone away again on more different projects. So that'll quieten down a small bit.
I wouldn't be surprised how many passports do you have? Like, this sounds so like CIA, like you're under the guise of being a rugby guru. Like you're just like, who would dare to question that? You'd be like, of course. Yeah. I mean, she's got the international credential. You would be who I would approach if I needed somebody to go, sneak in and out of countries. Lads, sure, look at I'm in Spain. Like, you would be who I would approach. And if things got a bit messy, you'd be able to handle, like, you're quick and you're strong. So, I mean, can you, and you can probably shoot as well, can you?
Shoot?
Yeah.
I haven't actually, I just have a spud gun.
Please tell me, have you never shot a gun?
I don't think I've ever shot a gun, no.
We will have to solve that. Oh, Tom.
We're not in America.
No, but we can do no, we don't have any of those automatic guns here, but we'll do some clay pigeon shooting.
Yes.
Yeah.
Down in Ger Manor, shall we?
Yeah. Through gritted teeth, you kind of agreed to that. No, we can do it. We can do it. There's actually crossbow. Have you ever? Crossbow shooting is very, very fun. Ballylanders, they have a place in Ballylanders, which wouldn't be. It's on the other side of the mountain from you, actually.
Yes, that's right.
Where we could go. So listen, I've been.
That'll be another live episode of next series.
I don't see why not. Doing it from random places, the Crossbow Park. It would be in keeping with you anyway, because Christ knows where you're going to show up. You were in the airport. Last night, Anna texted, she was like, Tom, this isn't going to work. I'm in another airport. Mm-hmm. I'm in Karachi. She was actually, I think were you taking civilians out, or were you there to kill somebody? I'm not sure. It was in either way, the airport was too noisy for the pod, or you were in the middle of, I don't know, a mission. I don't know.
Well, do you know what it was? We could have maybe got away with it. It was a bit noisy, but there was kind of beeping going on. But I was like, maybe it'll work. But it was one of those Aer Lingus flights where, sometimes Aer Lingus, sometimes Ryanair do it too. They're like on the ball. So they get everyone on the flight really early. And then they're in the air like when they should have only been taken off. I felt like that was going to happen and that it'd have to be like, shit, we're boarding, and like run onto the flight and cut the podcast short. So, and actually that's exactly what happened. So I'm glad that we postponed it to today, even though this will be a day later than people have been looking for it. So apologies to all the.
I got the.
Did you? You got a few. Yeah.
I got a few. Any podcast this week. So I'm like, Jesus Christ, take it easy. What airport were you in? Heathrow, right? So you spent the week in England,
London.
You got out of the coronation. Were you there for the has that happened?
No, that's this weekend.
Right. Okay.
And everywhere was looking lovely. I was like, geez, like Twickenham's looking lovely, all the flowers and everything. And they were like, yeah, that's for the coronation. I was like, oh yeah.
Your face
so-
just turned grey all of a sudden. You went, yeah.
And like, oh yeah. Well, it does look lovely, fair play to them, but like, I don't know, it's just a bit gas, the whole thing. But I hope they enjoy themselves. Well, the Uber driver was saying to me like he's going to take next weekend off because he just wants a weekend off. Because like, you know, if you're an Uber driver, you have to prescribe your own days off. So he's like, I'll take a day off for the coronation and we're going to have a party. And I was like, oh great. And he was like, well, it's not actually for the coronation, but it's just an excuse. So I think that's what many people will be doing, is celebrating that was like when I was teaching over last year, when I was doing some supply teaching, and I was like teaching the kids about, before Queen Elizabeth died, she had her, what was it called? Her
Golden Jubilee?
Yes.
Yeah, she got to gold. She got to gold, yeah.
Yes, she did. Right. So I was teaching. I told you this, I'm sure. I can't remember what stories I've told people. But when you're a supply teacher in primary school, you have to basically teach all of the subjects that they're normal teachers. So you're given a plan in the morning. It could be maths, English, geography, religion, science, PE, anything when you're a supply teacher. So you're just like, right. And I was teaching in Gloucester, doing supply teaching in just some random primary schools, you know, for a cover. And they were all learning about the Jubilee. And I was like, thank fuck I watched The Crown. Because they were all asking me questions like, what does abdication mean, miss? And I'm like, well, what happened was, and I was like, thank fuck I watched The Crown, because otherwise I would have been like having to learn about it before I would be teaching them. But they were like colouring, you know, like the Queen's head and making all these decorations. Like all the schools were doing it, because all the teachers were just like, let them do like Jubilee stuff just to kind of take, you know. And they were there colouring, and like it was a really good class this day. So I put on my Spotify to the speakers so that they could just listen to some music while they were working. But it was the same week that, or around the same time that, remember, the Irish girls had Celtic Symphony playing in the dressing room, and they got in trouble. So I just put on Ireland Top 50, and like the kids were working away, and then all of a sudden, like, the wall that says the sun was going down, and like the kids didn't notice. You know, they were all working away, and I didn't really notice for a while either. And then I just was this moment of like the kids all like scribbling away, and the whole tones like out over the speaker. I was like, oh my God.
You almost got cancelled. You almost got cancelled in the most obscure way. Like,
kids didn't have a clue.
I know, but Irish teacher trying to infiltrate her.
Yeah, I wonder. But the English people wouldn't know about that music
There,
either,
they
right?
wouldn't know. They wouldn't.
Yeah.
Fall.
And as well, it wasn't actually my playlist, even though like I love that kind of music, you know, and I listen to the Wolf Tones a lot. So it could have, you know, easily been in my selection, but it wasn't even my selection of music. You know, it was in Ireland's top 50. So it was such a moment of like, oh my God, what's going on? But anyway, none of that this week now. Was over for kind of different work things, and then I went to England and France, which was class. I suppose we'll get to the rugby in a while, but tell us more about your or will I make people wait? Because people are really, do you know what? I'll make people wait, and I'm going to elbow in and just tell you quickly about my weekend so that we can just buy time before. We had the beautiful Fred Cook the weekend just gone. Oh yeah, how did that go?
Outrageous. It's ridiculous. It's developing into arguably one of the best clubs in the country now at this stage.
That's because
what's cool is people come. What's cool? I normally people are in another place in their head, and they like when you gig in cities, people are like, well, I got a taxi next, and we're going on to another place after this. So they do things like take out their phone and just start videoing. So they're not present, not all the time. Present. You really have to work hard to have a good MC to. I swear to God, in the 7 shows we've done there, maybe twice I've ever had to make mention of it, like twice. Hey, don't be videoing. This isn't. It's out of context. It's not cool out of context. Twice out of how many, and because these people are so present in the moment. And Fred said it, he goes, I swear to God, I would have walked straight back up and done another hour. That's how good that was. Just like, so
unreal. I can't wait to visit.
Oh, you're going to, from when we'll time it right. I think, yes, because you're going to be away for most of this month. Next month, you'll be back for next month. Next month's one.
Do you have any gigs on in June?
Yeah, of course.
Are you allowed to say?
Can't for my club. I can't actually say the headliner because it will sell out fast. It will. I'll get plagued. Yeah, I'll get plagued. I'll tell you off air who it is because I'll have to set you aside a ticket. Go in 3 minutes. Yeah, Dear Joe Kane style. Let go in 3 minutes. So
unreal.
Yeah,
clap. Can't wait.
Very, very cool. I made a meal at the weekend that you would absolutely love.
Go on.
I did Guinness and treacle beef ribs.
Oh, very good.
Very bold. Very bold. The flavor was just bold. Do you know that kind of way? It was like, oh, this shouldn't be this nice. Oh,
did you put it on your Instagram? Did I see that on your Instagram?
Yes. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, geez, they looked incredibly juicy.
Oh, Jesus Christ. Do you know that when you take a bite of something like it's in a restaurant or whatever and everybody goes quiet? Do you know that bite where you're like, oh, there's no talking about this at all for a first minute. And there's the Irish person in me can't allow myself to pat me on the back. I'm kind of going, I wish somebody else made these so that I couldn't just...
Jesus, these are the best ribs I've ever had. Compliments to the chef.
Oh, wait, that's me. Oh, no.
Yeah.
I was just thinking as I was walking back over to the office, I was going, jeez, I must make them. And then now you'd eat like you'd, good God. And all for, I'd say, 4 people fed for 10 quid. 10 quid.
Class.
Maybe 12 quid because I went for genuine Guinness and not some strange stout. You know what I mean? The price of the can of Guinness was probably but that's it. Outrageous. Like the bones, when you picked it up by the bone, it just would. Yeah. Yeah.
Yum, I'd love some ribs now. What sides did you have?
I just asparagus and mash, but I did the mash. Wait till you hear the mash that I did.
What?
I got bone marrow, and I cooked the bone marrow on the grill, so the smoke does kind of infuse in it, and then it melts to its own natural butter style, and mash that through the spuds.
Unreal.
You do want to go for a jog immediately after it, but like it isn't actually bad stuff. Like, but it's just feels very naughty when you're eating it.
That's what living is.
Yeah. Oh God, jeez, you don't have to tell me. I don't pull back on any of that light shite. Any of that watch.
That's why they invented jogging.
Yeah. Well, oh God, yeah. Jeez, I don't like that either. But I mean, probably my brain uses a lot of calories. That's about it. My brain uses a lot of calories for telling and writing jokes. So that's what I'm putting it down to. But Era, you would have genuinely enjoyed. I apologize. I saw dirt somewhere on my face there a second ago. If you're looking at me going, Jesus, that fellow washed himself at all. There was dirt. I think I rubbed it off just before the podcast. Fionn, he's gone banana for rugby now. And he's actually getting decent technique. So yeah, smashed me on the ground a couple of times. And then the dog decided I'm in on this. And both of them decided to jump on my face. So yeah, that's what my life consists of on a Wednesday afternoon, Wednesday evening.
Well, I'll have to tell you what I got up today because I had a bit of a mishap. I've no car at the moment because I sold my car and I'm not really at home that much. So my mom was going into town. I was like, hang on a second, I want to go to the gym. So I grabbed my stuff quickly. Went to the gym, went into the dressing room afterwards, had my shower, came out of the shower, realised that I hadn't brought a towel. So I just had my hair turban. So I kind of made do. Grant, look, it happens to all of us. Just standing there. You'll always
find something. Yeah,
so Grant, that was all right. Anyway, looked down, was like throwing on my clothes, looked down at the t-shirt that I brought. I hadn't brought a t-shirt. I brought my nightie.
Please tell me there was teddy bears on it or something, was there? Go on. for, for the audio listeners, it is the entirety of a very long T-shirt that is Bugs Bunny. Wow. That is tremendous.
So I had to wait until everyone was gone out of the dressing room so I could put it on. And thank God I had like a zippy. I was just able to throw it on over it, but I was like,
oh yeah, oh God, because I was going to go, had you to walk back up to town looking like that?
Yeah, no, I didn't.
When did Anna go a little white trash walking down around the town in her night clothes?
But I walked up to visit my friend, and my friend's mum was like, God, you look lovely. And I was like, no, this is my nightie. She's like, oh, all right, sure, I would know what the young people be wearing these days.
What a great sidestep. I wouldn't know what the youngsters be wearing nowadays. Yeah, great.
I walked down to get a coffee and I was sweating. I wanted to take off my jumper and I was like, I can't. I'm wearing a Bugs Bunny pajamas. Anyway, so that was today's mishap.
Yeah, do you know what? In today's Mallow would be in today's current climate. You can do whatever the heck. You can literally wear that now as a thing. Yeah, maybe. Yeah, I mean,
maybe you could. But maybe because I just genuinely knew it was my pajamas, if I would have behaved in that manner. Do you know what I mean? Like scurrying around, like, oh God, I hope no one sees me. People are like, she's definitely wearing pajamas. Whereas if you're like, bang, like, move out of my way, walking down the high street of Mallow. You know, people are like, wow, I love her Bugs Bunny skirt. Yes. So, yeah. Anyway, let's talk about the rugby because you have to get on. You have to Bull and Boher soon.
Yes,
enough.
I Bull and Boher because I'm off to Ballincollig, whatever the Irish for Ballincollig is, and Ballincollig. What?
I should know this because my sister.
You should know. God, you literally, is this your sister that works in Rathcormac?
No, different sister.
Okay, so I'm. This sounds utterly suspicious that I'm rocking up to places that only that exclusively have a capeless in them.
People will be asking you to come do a gig. You're like, are there capelesses there? No, I'm out.
No, not happening. My rider, I need a capeless within 50 meters of the venue at all times. That's the possibility of it. So yes, the rugby at the weekend. We are, of course, a rugby podcast. Believe it or not, we're not just here to talk about ourselves.
Not just here to
weekend.
tell our stories.
It was a good week. It was a good week anyway for you over in England. Very good.
Super Saturday, yeah. So it's funny because it started really early. Like the England-France game was at 1:00. So, geez, time for farting around when the kickoff is at 1:00.
No.
So it was a gorgeous day. Went into Twickenham, met a friend for a coffee, had a pint in the Eel Pie pub. And like I said, Twickenham was looking great with all the flowers, but everyone was out and just such a great crowd. And like the walk up to the stadium was class. Like there was almost 60,000 people there,
Jesus.
Which is just unbelievable. I found it very emotional. Like I was like, this is class, because the last time there was that big a crowd in Twickenham was when the Babas played when the men couldn't play. So this was like another step up from that again. So it was just like unbelievable. Now England, I was in a corporate box. A friend of mine had corporate box tickets and brought me along, thanks to Dell, because Dell were sponsors of Wasps Women, so there's a lot of connections in the women's game. So they invited my friend along, and she brought a few of us along as well. So that was brilliant, like to be there, like, real sponsors at the women's game, like real energy behind it, real enthusiasm. Anyway, I went into the corporate box and was chatting away to the girl next to me, and Ciara Cooney, my friend, like she used to play for Ireland as well. She's from, she's from Galway. Like turns around, well, would you look who it is? Like, and there was 60,000 people there, and she was in the seat in front of where I sat in the corporate box. Did you hear that?
I did. I love that. Literally, you just talked about a friend hearing your voice and turning around and going, and
my mother. Well, keep your eyes closed. My mom would be giving out to me, like when I go watch rugby with mom, and I'd be like, shouting to support the team. She'd be telling me that I'm too loud, like. So this is This is what I have to listen to, or that's what she has to listen to, I suppose. Anyway, so
What's a
England-
corporate box? What are the benefits of being in a corporate box, by the way?
so we got free drink and free food.
Jesus
Now-
Christ, you can't just go ripping past that. I needed to know free food. What food?
Burgers and
Yes.
a cheese board, and then some
for-
pies at the end. Now it depends on like what the corporate box buys for its guests, but Dell went like really like big supporters of it, so that was class. But
Class.
because it was so early in the day, I didn't go like full whack on you know, all the free drinks. So just, you know,
Yes.
enjoyed myself, had a few free drinks, was great. England were unreal. They absolutely smashed France in the first half, which is a bit of a shame because it would have been much more exciting if the scoreline had been just a little bit closer. Sorry, did I drop out there?
No.
Oh, you keep
No.
freezing, and I don't know if I'm. Give me a wave if the line drops out. Anyway, so it was like, what was it?
I think
How many fights to
Yeah, I think-
0 at halftime?
Yes, yeah, at halftime, yeah. But it like it was almost like they came at it from two completely different.
Yeah.
You can get shell shocked too by England, I suppose, overall. But I was
Yeah.
watching it, kind of going, Ballocks. Just same way I was thinking about you at it, going, Ballocks.
Yeah, it would have been, even if France just managed to score like one try before halftime, maybe. But jeeper, like France absolutely like came out of the blocks. And I suppose exactly like we've spoken about a million times, like if you're that far ahead and you go into the changing room at halftime, you're not going to be like, right, we need to improve this, because you're already like way in
Fucking
front. Like,
diesel at that stage, like, Jesus.
yeah. But I was saying it to like one of the girls I was with. I was like, God, imagine going into the tunnel now or into the dressing room at halftime, and you're just like, you're winning by so much. The second half is going to be so much fun. There's a danger to that as well, which is obviously what happened in England, which is just taking the foot off the gas. Like, even though they wouldn't have wanted to, or like being like, great, we can relax now. Like, they definitely would have never said that. They would have known the dangers of France, but still somehow it just how it happens. And France for sure like came back into it, and would have been nice for England to finish with a try because the crowd were just loving it. And Jesus, if there'd been another few minutes on the clock, like France could have won it, like.
Yeah.
So so anyway, good for England, like, fair play to them. They deserved it. They deserved to win. So it was a great day out. And then there was a Guinness after party, and literally everybody who knows anything about rugby, anyone I've ever met in rugby, was inside in the Cabbage Patch. Like, everybody.
Of course.
Everybody I've ever met was in the Cabbage Patch. Like, I think there was 58,000 people in the Cabbage Patch.
The Cabbage Patch, for anybody going, did Anna go to a farm? No, it's a bar. It's a bar. It's a bar.
Do you know why it's called the Cabbage Patch?
I don't know. I've heard of people. This is an interesting one. I've heard of like back pitches being, of soccer and rugby and stuff. The back pitch is often named the Cabbage Patch because they're so shite. That's
right.
like the local soccer club up the road here. They have, and my wife, God bless her, Natasha, she was like, she was saying she was describing somebody where they live. She said they by a bunch of Celtics. Is a turnip field. I went, why? And it took me a good 30 seconds to go, why would a soccer club own a turnip field? Did she say Cabbage Patch? But yeah, that's it. Went right.
I haven't heard that before. Because Twickenham was actually built on a cabbage patch.
Was it?
The actual pitch, yeah. Well, however many hundreds of years ago, yeah, it used to actually be an actual cabbage patch.
England's symbol, so shouldn't be a rose. Tell me, it should be a fucking cabbage.
Could be a cabbage, yeah. What were they thinking?
What were they thinking? It'd be way more endearing to all the other nations if it was a cabbage and not a
like
rose.
Way more, yeah.
Way more. And what the women, they were called the Red Roses. Are they still called the Red Roses?
Yes, they are the Red Roses.
How good would it be to be called the Green Cabbages? I'd love to play for a club called the Cabbages.
I know. You'd be like the underdog all the time.
The time.
Wouldn't matter how successful you were.
Sorry, yes, you were in the Cabbage Patch.
Yes, which was class. And we stayed there to watch the Irish game. By the time the Irish game came on, the English girls had arrived. And like, we were watching the Irish game and like the girls were crowd surfing and like in front of the screen and everything. Like, it was gas.
And like, hey, come on, come out of it. You're like, no, it's the actual English team. I can't read. I would have loved if you were there with a big stick, just going around poking people out. You were like, come on.
Well, so in terms of England, France, they'll be going into. So, do you know, or how much do you know about the WXV?
Not enough about the WXV.
Kind of released a bit more information around it now. So, the WXV tournament is basically just like to get more test games for women's rugby and to kind of even out the international calendar a bit. And there will be, so the 3 top teams from the 6 nations will go into Tier 1 along with the 3 top teams from Pac 4. And Pac 4 is the Pacific Nations tournament between USA, Canada, New Zealand, and Australia. So the 3 top teams from that will go into WXV 1 along with England and France, and then Wales, who'd like, to be fair, had an unbelievable tournament, and they and beat Italy then on Saturday as well. They'll be going into WXV 1, so that's massive for Wales. So that's sorted from the European side, and I reckon so in the summer there'll be the Pac 4 deciding games, and I'd say USA, I'd say USA will be the 4th team, in which case Canada, Australia, New Zealand will go into Tier 1 as well. So, well, USA.
Where's it? Is it going to be played around in their own stadiums, or is it a fixed country?
Fixed country. So I think that WXV 1 is going to be in New Zealand, in Wellington, I think.
Okay.
So they'll all be off to New Zealand it's around the same time as the Men's World Cup. So be interesting how that will be balanced. Anyway.
I think it's a good thing. At first I was kind of going, shite, which Ireland were in it. But I think almost in a way, well, it's definitely a good thing for the game. Once the game has more games, that's what it needs. Unfortunately, you know what I mean? You can't cram any more into the men's calendar, whatever, you know, they would actually pedal it back for health and safety reasons. But with the women, need more games so that more eyes are on it, which in the long run, I think, and I don't want to use the phrase like shame the RFU into it, but at the same time, if the women's game worldwide is getting more, there has to be a kind of a sheesh, a sheesh moment where, Rodney Dangerfield, like, hey, I'm over here. We better pull our socks up.
It's disappointing because I would have thought that moment, i.e. like a firework up your arse, might have happened already. They claim that it has, and that they're like, putting all this effort into it now, which is,
the shit is out of the horse now, for God's sake. Jesus, sure, the fucking barn door is flapping. The horse is halfway up the field. What are we fucking...
This is it, because, you're like, well, now we're investing all, but so are all the other countries. So we're already behind. And like, the thing is, so those countries, Wales gone into WXV 1, like I would say, good luck to us catching Wales for another few years if they're gone into that tournament, because they're literally playing with the big dogs. Like that will be like unbelievable for them. So what happened with the other games was Scotland beating us, and Scotland, to be fair, they were brilliant, and like, well,
we hung with them till half time, like. And
I thought Ireland were really good, but again, we've been really good for parts of the tournament and just not been able to finish off those good patches of play. And this was the exact same. Now I know we got a try. So gas, like Nicola, Nick Friday was the only one who scored a try. None of the other players got tries this tournament. Like, it's actually, I feel so deflated for them. Like they deserved it, but they just weren't converting. Like the tries just were not coming, and like we needed a bonus point win. So going into that without having scored, tries in this tournament already was just such a massive task. Anyway, Scotland really pulled ahead in the second half, and like, all of the experience of the World Cup last November really stood to all of the teams who went, and Ireland, just really, just need more and more game time and exposure and all the rest. So Ireland now, so Scotland have gone into WXV 2, and Italy and Spain will play off in the summer to decide what other European team will go into WXV 2 as well. Ireland will be in WXV 3, along with the loser of Italy and Spain. And I was kind of like, okay, look, short-term kind of disappointment and playing with these teams, but we'll top WXV 3 easily enough and go up to WXV 2. But that's not how it's going to work. It will always come back to how we finish in the Six Nations. So with all of the other Six Nations teams playing one level up, it's just going to be so hard for Ireland to like keep the foot on the pedal. Well, like keep the foot on the pedal is one thing, but actually create more, like get better than the other opposition you're going to be meeting when they're already playing up a level. So that's going to be with a tough couple of years coming up for us now because of the result of this Six Nations.
And your feelings then on the coach, was he exited or did he exit of his own accord?
It's unclear.
Yeah, I've been trying to find it out, like, and it's all,
yeah.
like, Jesus, they're like the CIA, like the IRFU, like at times.
No.
You're going, lads, be a bit more open. All the media outlets are talking about him. They're like, we get it. You're a great outfit, but we'd like to. You got to open the door a little bit.
I know, and I was chatting with Ali Donnelly on another podcast. Ali Donnelly she's the owner of Scrum Queens, which is a women's rugby website that is like jeepers. It's like one of the oldest rugby websites that I know of. Like I remember logging into Scrum Queens when we had dial-up here in the house, like trying to get information on women's rugby. So she knows her stuff inside out, and she literally took the words out of her mouth. She put it so well. She just wants, and me too, and so many other people just want the IRFU to come forward and be like, okay, yes, this has been really difficult. We're trying. This is our plan. We're open about it, exactly like what you've just said. You know, this is what we're thinking. This is what we want to achieve. Please bear with us. We know there's going to be errors. We know there's going to be good times, bad times, all these things. But this is what we're going with. And you have to trust us because we want this too. But like, it's so cryptic, the messages that come out, and so frustrating when you just want to know what's going to happen. And like, yeah, again, jeepers, like it was Monday. Was it Monday or was it Tuesday when the news came out that the coach was gone?
Yeah.
So quick, like there barely was even time to kind of let the results sink in. And he was announced. It was announced that he was leaving. Whoever decided this, I don't know. I don't know if anyone knows. I don't know if they know.
I know rugby tends to be a bit more of a closed shop than the soccer scene, but other nations tend to be even a bit more open door than us. We shut up because they do well on the men's game, but then when you shit the bed drop the ball so badly on the women's game, you know what I mean? You're kind of going, and this isn't like you drop the ball on some weird spurious version of 11s rugby that we're giving a go. You're going, no, the fucking women's rugby has been around for yonks. It's 15s. Like, what are you doing? Like, I'll tell you, years ago, on the podcast, I interviewed a rugby player. What was her name? Megan Williams was her name.
Yes.
And Megan's reason for switching from 7s to 15s is that she wanted to win more matches. I'm going to never forget her saying it. That still drills into my head. Maybe 5 years ago? 5 years ago? Yeah. She wanted to win more matches. Isn't that? Yeah. It just popped into my head this morning. I went, oh my God, yeah.
Yeah. Well, to be fair, when Megan was in the squad, because I played with Megan, we were winning against, we were coming third in the Six Nations.
Yes. Yeah.
You know, already obviously behind England and France, but it was almost a given that, beating them was like impossible. But now, we're saying farewell to the chances of beating the other teams as well. It's just so sad. And, there was talk recently about like, look, this is year one. We're just going to have to trust them that they're going to get it right. But now the coach is gone. So we're back to we have to do year one again. Is it? So I don't know what's going to happen. They say they're still in talks with him. So does that mean he's going to stay in some capacity? I don't
They,
know.
they
No
need
one
to.
knows.
You need to bust out the fucking checkbook. That's the simple fact. You need to bust out the checkbook. Go after a proven coach.
Mm,
Girls all over the country will go, yes, now we're fucking
mm,
on, and they'll start turning
mm,
up to training for their local clubs and stuff like that. Because there's a, you know, but if
mm,
there's a brick fucking wall of absolutely falling off a cliff come the international level, why
mm.
would you? Where do you take your inspiration from?
If we could just, have an idea of where we're going, and admitting that, like, we haven't got it right so far. We know there's problems. We want to improve. If that message was delivered,
Yes.
and then a coach put in, because I think putting in another coach now is just like, well, we haven't not have things been addressed, like, we don't know. So yeah, it's all, we have to just wait and see what's going to come next. But like, in a really funny turn of things as well, like, obviously the English coach retired, Simon Middleton, which was, he was coming, because he had announced it that he was retiring. They've appointed, and there was a load of talk around, like, will they appoint a female head coach? There's a good few female head coaches in the Premiership, but I wasn't sure if they would, and there was talk around it, but I don't know. They've appointed some, like, Kiwi guy who is apparently kind of a controversial character. It just seems such a weird appointment. He doesn't seem to have any experience with women's rugby. He, like, spends really short amount of time in, like, the different countries and professional teams he's worked in, and now he's got, like, the English coach head job.
What?
So weird. Yeah, so weird.
When you're going so well, like, you know what I mean? Why would? Yeah, that's an odd. Jesus.
Very weird. So that's an interesting one as well. But, like, so it's all kind of happening at the moment around, like, coaches in the game, in the women's game at the moment. Like, France had a bit of a wipeout there earlier this year, so, like, yeah, it's interesting. But Ireland, I don't know. It's let's see. We have we have to wait and see for now. I don't know what's going to happen, but we don't know what happened. If he walked, or they're like, they got rid of him because they're like, you're not good enough, or what. I don't know, but I don't think, because I was asked, like, oh, is he the right man for the job? I'm like, it's so hard to tell, because the pathways haven't proven themselves. The experience isn't there. How would you know if the head coach is the right person for the job if so many other areas need improving as well? So let's see. It's interesting. And it's funny that this is our last episode and we're here, like, with no clue what the hell is going to happen next.
Nothing at all. Oh, like, yes, as you said, hopefully there'll be. I hate the idea of these fucking inquests. That gives me, to give ire to Jarrah Vaseline, the way they speak about these things. If it was a company and it was the wheels were coming off the wagon, it would come to a grinding halt. You'd find what was going wrong, explain it to the board of management and to all the people who should know, i.e. us, and say, well, this is what we're going to do to improve things. Either that or we fucking that's it, one or the other. Do you know, piss or get off the pot, lads. Get this. Do you know, it's not. There's no magic. This isn't a game that was suddenly invented. This isn't Quidditch. Do you know what I mean? This is this is fucking rugby. You've seen how to make it work. You see, and you're clearly not doing that. I'm not saying it's as basic as all that, but there literally is a pathway. Look down the corridor. How's it fucking working down the corridor?
Yeah.
Can take their notes and bring it back up the way and get after it, because it's infuriating when they're getting it right so many other places, and this one just seems to be a blinker on that side of their head.
Yeah, and the sad thing is that, we obviously have our own podcast about it. There are so many outlets for new media coverage now. So there are so many people covering women's sport.
Yeah.
And there are unbelievable content creators for women's rugby, and, like, the reporters are unreal, and there's new shows and podcasts and all these things, and everyone's story is growing and getting better and has positive things included, and ours just doesn't, and it's so sad. It's not we don't deserve it. Like Irish rugby, like the Irish women's rugby doesn't deserve it, you know, and it's just really sad that this is where we're at when everyone else seems to be accelerating. Like you say, that's the key word, I think, when you said accelerating, because it's not just about like doing the right thing now, it's actually doing the right thing times 100.
Yeah. Because we won't catch him. We won't fucking catch him. It'll be 20 years before we catch him.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, but you know what? I'm putting it out there to the universe, Anna.
Mm-hmm.
It's going to happen.
Yeah.
It's going to happen.
Put it out there now.
Putting it out there to the universe. It's going to happen. I'm going to burn some sage walking around the office here. It's going to happen.
We'll sit together when 60,000 people come to the Aviva Stadium to watch a women's rugby game.
Jesus Christ, we'll be balling. We'll be balling. But it will happen. It will happen. It has to happen. Simple as that.
Yeah.
Jesus, that was an emotional way to. Well, I tell you, we covered the two Six Nations, and I think we did a jovial enough job. I think we've had a lot of people very, very happy. We are not going away though. We're just taking a rest, and it's gone fair busy. The word is getting kind of crazy as well on me, but we promised we were going to come back and teach you the only way we can, i.e. not be complete anoraks, pushing our glasses to the up our noses, kind of going, I think you'll find not those people, the sort of people who shout at each other on Twitter. We won't be those, but we are going to create a series for you of how to rugby. I don't even know what we should call the series, but it should be something indicative with us.
Rugby for dummies. Rugby for bears and bananas.
There you go. It is, of course, just to tee you up ahead of the World Cup, because there's a lot of people, and I have a lot of people from my Patreons from my show who would be horse racing fans or not fans of sport at all, but they're loving this. But they're kind of getting a little bit lost in the weeds when we kind of start ironically getting into the rugby a bit. They're like, what? Oh, but because they are sticking the feelers out there to go, okay, I'm going to start following a few people of rugby related people online and stuff like that, seeking to find stuff. So this is the kind of, again, this is the, if this was acting teaching, this isn't teaching Othello or anything Shakespearean. We're going to take you from A to Z, so you don't look like a flute at a match and a pub, and also to accelerate and incubate your love of rugby like myself and Anna have. Anna's going to be, well, you'll be the expert, really, and it'll just be me verifying. Just Anna, tell me, law 10.67 of, no, it won't be to that degree. Sure it won't, really.
No, not a hope, because I don't know what law 10.67 is.
If you go back to the episode where Anna was in the car and it got really dark and creepy, where she was Putty, that one. So if you imagine your side Putty in Musgrave, you want to be able to pull him up on something, or we're going to give you the inside track as to how to at least sound like you know what rugby is, so you can enjoy it a little bit more with the family or whoever you're going to be watching it with during the I suppose that'll be the World Cup, really. But we'll have it out a bit before then, won't we?
Oh, we will. We will be back. We'll be back soon enough. We have to do our live episodes. We've got to visit Jerry Murphy's Pub, the Cork Arms, Shane A, the Care Comedy Club. We have a big list of all our live shows.
Exactly. Yeah. So we'll be getting back at it probably June. Realistically, June, we'll be getting back at it, because Anna's off to, I think, to take out some strange leader or something of some obscure country or something. You've got a lot in your plate throughout May in the way of clandestine missions. I can't believe the word clandestine popped into my head. Fair play to you.
Yes, of many missions of May. I'm going off to join the missions.
Oh, fantastic. That'd be great. Podcasting from the missions. Sister Anna.
Sister Assumpta. I must give Caroline, my friend Caroline, a shout out, because she's do you know when you put on your story that you're somewhere? I put on like my story the other day I was in London. My God, the number of messages, people like, where are you? When are you here? And like my friend Caroline was only down the road, so we met for a pint, and she was like, sure, I listen to the podcast. And I was like, oh, sure, look, but she said that like she loves, like, the simplicity of how we're talking about rugby. So I said I'd give her a shout out. So thanks to Caroline and to all of our listeners for sticking with us as we talk absolute shite for the last 12 weeks.
Longer, yeah, it is 13 or 14 weeks now. Yes, it is, because we didn't drop off at all. Even during the fallow weeks, we just talked pure shite during that time, staying rugby adjacent. While we're at it, shout out to Dave, and there's a couple others, but I know Dave for a fact absolutely loves the chat back and forth. He's a hurling man and a football man, I think, but I think we've turned him to the oval side because of our chats and how much we enjoy rugby. So also a shout out to Dave. And and shout out to Keelan the barber at the weekend, who trimmed my eyebrow hairs. And I've never had wizardy eyebrows, but my eyebrows have been going quite wizardy in my elder years. He trimmed my eyebrows, but he had the podcast playing in the barbers.
Unreal.
Yeah.
Jesus. Speaking of wizards and Quidditch, I went to see Harry Potter last week. It was unbelievable on the stage.
Oh, there's a stage play of it now.
There is. Well, I'll fill you in on it when in series 3.
Right. Well, as we always sign off, it's from me, Tom O'Mahony, Slán.
Oh yes, and myself, Banana Keepless, Slán O'Walya, Slán Gafol.
It's the Banana and